loves when it snows, and she died that morning when it was actually pouring down snow in Virginia.
And that no one really wants to talk to little Kevin's father because there was a pretty public rift between our side of the family and him, right?
It's my last call.
So, Sister Traci, my sister's now is Snowflake.
Okay, see you later.
Cheers, get your life.
Tawanda knew how I felt about having a confrontation. I don't get it.
When you didn't go with the group in the...
You make it so hard. Love you. You make it so hard.
With the group
When Traci Braxton...
You didn't communicate.
Actually, I did.
Lies.
And then when newcomers coming around and think they can be counselors.
When Traci Braxton passed away, fans noticed something shocking. Her own sisters weren't at her funeral. And no, this wasn't some simple scheduling mix-up. This was a result of decades of deep-rooted hurt, betrayal, and emotional wounds that never healed. From being pushed out of their girl group while she was pregnant to being mocked for her solo music career, Traci spent her life trying to stay connected to a family that often made her feel invisible. Her sisters not only left her behind in business, but also publicly aired her private pain, including her husband's cheating on national television without warning. And even after all that, the final goodbye, the funeral, was the last straw in a long line of emotional breakdowns and unresolved fights. This isn't just a story about grief. It's about what happens when family becomes more about contract than love, and when the cameras never stop rolling, even at the end, before the reality show cameras, before the scandals, before the fights. There were 5 sisters, and Traci Braxton was right in the middle of them. In the early 90s, the Braxton sisters were chasing their music dreams together. But when the chance finally came to sign a record deal, Traci was left out. She was pregnant at the time, and the label didn't want a pregnant woman in the group's image. Traci told them to go ahead without her, but it crushed her. That one decision planted a seed of pain that grew into decades of feeling left out. Her sisters, Toni, Tamar, Tawanda, and Trina, moved on with fame, and Traci quietly stayed behind. She felt pushed out of something she helped build. And while time passed, that pain stayed close. When they all reunited for the show Braxton Family Values, Traci hoped things would finally be different. But even on the show, old wounds reopened fast. When the rest of the sisters walked out in protest during a contract dispute, Traci stayed. She kept filming. That made her the outsider again. And when she tried to explain her side in interviews, she described feeling like she was once again standing alone, just like she did back when they signed that first record deal without her. She was never treated like an equal. Her ideas got brushed off. Her feelings were minimized. She loved her sisters, but it didn't feel mutual. And those emotions only deepened when personal events brought back the same patterns of exclusion. Things got worse during a family trip to Napa Valley. The sisters were there to celebrate Tamar's birthday and Trina's engagement. But from the jump, the vibe was off. Traci's husband, Kevin, passed out cigars to the men, but Tamar got heated. She didn't want her man, David, smoking on camera. She said it looked ghetto and would hurt his image in the finance world. That small moment turned into a much bigger fight. Tamar's comment rubbed Traci the wrong way, and the tension only escalated. Then came a planned sit-down intervention, organized by the sisters' boyfriends. Traci didn't want any part of it. She felt like outsiders were trying to fix problems they didn't even understand. When the meeting happened anyway, Traci was furious. She said she felt disrespected. Again, her sisters didn't listen to her boundaries. She confronted Tawanda and called her a snake, accusing her of stirring up drama for cameras. And when Kevin tried to defend Traci and explain that the pain went back decades, Tamar cut him off and brought up his criminal record instead. That moment sent everything spiraling. Kevin found Traci crying in the bathroom. She told him her sisters were just co-workers now, not real family. She felt like the love they once shared was gone. Still, Traci tried to go back and talk it out, but it was too late. Trina had already left, and Toni said there was no point. Tamar threw in a sarcastic "cheers, get your life," and that set Traci off. She turned around and snapped, "You make it so hard to love you." Then she lunged at the cameraman in full rage. That moment wasn't just TV drama. It was the emotional release of years of being dismissed, ignored, and hurt by the people closest to her. But it didn't end there. At Trina's wedding, another emotional blow hit. During the reception, their father got up to sing and asked Traci to join him. She did, hoping to share a heartfelt moment. But later, a guest told her sisters were laughing at her. Whether they were laughing at her or not, Traci felt humiliated. She believed they were mocking her for trying to shine in a moment that should have been pure love. When Tamar followed her backstage to talk, Traci snapped. She called her fake, a fraud, a phony, and told her to leave. That wasn't a one-off explosion. That was the boiling point from years of being the family punching bag. Traci had already been hurt by the way her sisters handled her music career. When she dropped Crash and Burn, Tamar mocked the use of auto-tune online. When she released her second album, On Earth, Tony and Tamar didn't promote it at all. Traci felt unsupported. Again, she tried to create her own lane, and even then, her own sisters didn't stand behind her. And when her marriage problems surfaced, she wasn't the one who brought them to light. Her sisters exposed Kevin's alleged cheating on national TV without even telling her. That betrayal was deep. She said some things should stay private, even on reality TV. But Tamar, especially, always had something to say. After all that, Traci made a decision. No more mixing family with business. It was tearing them apart. She wanted peace, and she knew she'd never find it if she kept performing the same cycle over and over. Around that time, Traci was also dealing with a deeper pain. Her niece Lauren, who she raised like a daughter, passed away. Traci said it felt like losing her own child. That grief made it even harder to connect with her sisters. She admitted that she didn't like sharing her emotions, and she needed time to move slowly. She didn't want to pretend everything was okay just for the cameras. That honesty pushed her even further away from the rest of the family. And then, Traci died in 2022 from esophageal cancer. And just when people thought things couldn't get any more heartbreaking, more drama exploded. Her husband, Kevin, planned a funeral, but her sisters didn't attend. Fans were stunned, but the reason came straight from the will. According to Trina and Tawanda, Traci had made it clear she didn't want a funeral. Kevin organized one anyway. The sisters refused to go, not out of spite, but to honor her final wishes. But behind that, the tension between Kevin and the Braxtons had been simmering for years. They didn't get along, and after Traci's death, that divide only grew deeper. Tawanda and Trina spoke out, warning producers not to use Traci's death as a storyline. They made it clear Traci asked for privacy in death, and they were determined to protect that. Traci had long felt like the outsider. She was hurt by the wannabe label and tired of being sidelined. Tawanda admitted that the nickname came from producers, not the family. She said they never wanted to leave Traci out back in the 90s. They loved her, and they always tried to include her when they could. But by then, the damage had already been done. The cracks were too deep. The sisters now say they're returning with a new series that will finally honor Traci's true voice. Tawanda and Trina promised this time it's about doing right by Traci, not chasing ratings. And in one of the most emotional moments, Tamar sat down with a medium. The medium said Traci had a message. "I'm sorry. I love each and every one of you. Just remember, you're my baby." Tamar cried. It was a final message of love from beyond the grave. But for Traci, that love was missing in life when she needed it most. The family therapy didn't help. They brought in Iyanla Vanzant hoping to fix things, but it only opened more wounds. Tamar revealed childhood trauma. Tensions around money and contracts made things worse. And when the sisters walked off the show in protest, only Traci stayed. That created another rift. The others felt betrayed. But Traci felt like she was the only one trying to keep things together. Even when the sisters later appeared at the season 6 premiere and told Entertainment Tonight that they were healing, Traci kept it real. She said it was still a struggle. They were trying to respect boundaries and work together. But it was hard. She knew not everyone wanted the same things. For her, it was never just business. It was about being seen, loved, and respected as a sister, not just a cast member. Tawanda admitted they were a work in progress. Tony said she always tried to pull the family back together, but even she knew it wasn't easy. Tamar gave credit to the Holy Ghost for helping them reconnect, but the scars were still there. Traci had always spoken up when it counted. She was the only one to show up to the first premiere after the big fallout. She kept her word. She didn't run from the drama. She stood in it. But even after all that loyalty, Traci still had to watch her sisters laugh behind her back, expose her marriage, and push her out of her own story. In the end, Traci knew what she needed to finally stand up for herself. She said, "This time around, I'm sticking up and making moves for Traci." That was her truth, and she held on to it until the very end. Why do families wait until it's too late to apologize? Do you think Traci was right to keep filming when her sisters walked off? Should her final wishes have been honored differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is layered with real-life lessons about love, loyalty, and what happens when you're the one always left behind. Let's be real. Traci Braxton's Scandal Update isn't just a family feud. It's a case study in emotional neglect, in what happens when people close to you fail to show up again and again, from being pushed out of a music deal because of pregnancy, to being mocked for her solo career, to the disrespect that followed her even into death. Traci Braxton never got the peace she deserved. Traci Braxton's latest news might not be headlines anymore, but her story still echoes for anyone who's ever felt like a forgotten one in the family. The good news is her voice was never completely lost. Her sisters say they're trying now, trying to honor her wishes, protect her memory, and do right by her. And maybe, just maybe, that's the legacy she needed most. So what would you have done if you were in Traci's shoes? Would you have walked away or kept trying? Hit the comments and share your truth, because Traci's story deserves to be heard loud, clear, and uncut.